going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aidan, and welcome back to another video. Today we've got a Chicago Bulls and Miami Heat game reaction, and there is a lot to go through in terms of this game and why this game was even played in the first place. We're going to be talking a lot about it in this video, but before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the game today for the Chicago Bulls. Who was your player of the game? And I guess for both sides, do you think this game should have been played in the first place? We'll be talking a little bit about it in terms of, I guess, the upcoming games as well. But we lost this game 118 to 92. It was a very dominant performance from the Miami Heat from the very start to the very beginning. They ended up hitting some big shots, some big threes, and easy opportunities for them as well. It goes to show that depth goes a long way in a team, and the Chicago Bulls, our depth is missing, and their depth is still right there. Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, PJ Tucker, Dedmon had a strong game as well. It was just a really good game from them overall, and I think they should be very happy for this victory. And before I say what I have to say, I just want to say I put a comment or a community post right before the game started saying that win or lose pretty much, I don't think this game should have been played. So by me saying this and saying that I don't think this game should have been played after a loss, many people will come and say that you've only said that because the Bulls lost. I said at the very beginning of the game, as soon as we saw Ayo Dosunmu enter health and safety protocols, Stanley Johnson enter health and safety protocols, who we literally just signed, and another Bulls commentator enter health and safety protocols, there has to be a limit in terms of how much we can take, ladies and gentlemen. At the end of the day, we literally just signed a player and off he is in health and safety protocols. So there's clearly an outbreak in the team. There's clearly something that is in this team that is spreading this virus to every single one of our players at the moment. I said this at the beginning as well. It seems like every day there's a new player that enters health and safety protocols. Now we have 3 people within the Bulls community enter health and safety protocols. When is enough going to be enough from the NBA? This game shouldn't have been played. I'm very ashamed and I'm very disappointed in the NBA for playing this game. For both teams, if Miami lost, this is still a situation where we say the same thing. They have a health and safety protocol individual as well, in Caleb Martin. So what? I just don't understand. I really don't understand what the NBA is thinking playing the Chicago Bulls with so many people out in health and safety protocols, as well as, again, versing a team like the Miami Heat that also has someone out from health and safety protocols. So it's frustrating, nevertheless. It shouldn't have been played, in my opinion, but it is what it is now. The NBA just clearly don't want to see the protection of their league, and they're going to continue to see a lot of players enter health and safety protocols, and it looks like they're not going to do much about it. In hindsight, the game's been played. Let's talk about the game. I thought the Chicago Bulls offense was very stagnant today. I think that's the biggest reason as to why we lost. Obviously, the three-point shots for the Miami Heat hurt, but at the end of the day, if you end up scoring a little bit more offensively, you end up getting a little bit more energy in the defensive end. When you're stagnant offensively, you're not moving around. Again, very, very, very little off-ball movement. You see from the Miami Heat, no matter who's playing in their team, Kyle Lowry backdoor cuts, Tyler Hero backdoor cuts. Every single one of their players know where to be. They make easy out of bounds plays. They make easy set plays that gives them the biggest opportunities in the paint that I've ever seen. And we don't do that enough with the Chicago Bulls. Obviously, with a lot of our players out, it's hard to say that we should know where everybody's supposed to be on the court at the same time. A lot of these players are new. You saw Alfonso McKinney come into this game as well. I thought he was one of our better bench players, which is not saying much, but it's still there to be said. But we didn't have a lot of our, I guess, chemistry there for the Chicago Bulls, which is very unfortunate, but that's just the way that it goes in the NBA. If players don't play often, they're not going to be ready. When you see Tony Bradley come into the game, he barely plays for the Chicago Bulls. You can't expect him to be ready to play every single night. It's just not the way that it is. Same with other players around the league as well. It's as simple as that. And they took advantage of their easy opportunities, and we made our shots very difficult. Miami Heat's defense was strong as well, and that's something that wasn't very strong for us, considering we let up 118 points, and a lot of them were 3-point shots. They were getting close, I believe. I don't think they scored more than 22 threes. They scored 22 threes against the Bucks. I don't think they scored 22 threes in this game, but it was getting close, ladies and gentlemen. If not, they probably did overtake it. So, yeah. We suffered a pretty bad loss here, ladies and gentlemen. We saw firsthand that when you see players like Nikola Vucevic struggle, Zach Lavine can't do it on his own because the bench had 7 points up until that fourth quarter in total. That was the Alfonso McKinney 30, and I believe Tony Bradley getting some layups, whatever it was. But 7 points until the fourth quarter off of the bench. That's not good enough for any team. So at the end of the day, Zach Lavine couldn't do it all. Our starters weren't exactly strong. Alex Caruso had a good game. I thought Lonzo had a great first quarter. Zach Lavine was trying to score and trying to facilitate. But we needed to see our second star, Nikola Vucevic, show up today. And he got outplayed by the Miami Heat's bench center. So we need to start having conversations about Nikola Vucevic now. Again, he's been very inconsistent. It's very unfortunate this is happening to him. But there needs to be questions asked about whether or not he should be benched for this team. I'm not talking about trading him at the moment. I don't think that the Chicago Bulls are going to make a trade up until January or February. I don't see the Bulls making a trade in December. But there needs to be talks now about whether or not he should be benched. As good as he is in terms of talent, we know he's a very talented player. He is hurting the Bulls a lot more than he's helping us. So at the end of the day, that conversation needs to be had. I understand that we have a lot of players out and that affects Vucevic just as much as anybody. But this has been going on all season pretty much. It's been a situation where the Chicago Bulls, we see Vucevic have a couple of strong games, 2 or 3 strong games, and then he goes back to struggling a bit. There's no consistency in his play. He's not playing excellently well. He's not playing superbly well for the season, and it's consistent, and then playing poorly consistent. It's not. It's very inconsistent with Nikola Vucevic. We're not seeing him struggle for too long, but we're also not seeing him playing great for too long. So we need to find that balance, and I think at this point, there needs to be serious conversations about what we can do with Nikola Vucevic. I'm not talking about trades. I'm not talking about just not playing him in general. I think he needs to be benched. I think he needs something to help motivate him to get back into rhythm. And putting your hands around his shoulder, trying to give him a comforting hand, can only go so far. He's clearly struggling, and at the end of the day, we have to think about the Bulls first. Maybe there's a conversation to be had about benching him. I'm not sure, but we'll wait and see. Maybe playing against bench centers just to get his confidence back is an ideal way to go. I'm not sure. I can't be the one to say for sure, but we'll wait and see what happens with Nikola Vucevic. All I can say is I just hope he gets better. For me, to be honest, if he doesn't improve around the February mark of the season, then there needs to be serious conversations about Vuce. That's just how I see it personally. I know many people will see it differently, but that's just how I feel about that situation. And I thought it was a big reason as to why we lost tonight. I think defensively he was poor, and I thought offensively he was very, very poor. So you gotta have to figure it out. We need to figure it out as a team. We need to figure it out as individuals. And Nikola Vucevic needs to figure it out himself as well. It's a really hard loss to take. It's a game that shouldn't have been played. But as I said at the very beginning, as I said yesterday, whoever wins this game, it's a very big win for their season because both teams have really big players out for their respective teams. And it's a win that probably both teams didn't expect to have. But the Miami Heat took that win, and I'm not going to change my mind on that. It's a very big win for their season. They picked up a win with all the odds stacked against them, and they thoroughly deserved it as well. So you got to give credit to the Miami Heat. And for the Chicago Bulls, this is a loss that I don't care much about, to be honest. I seriously could not care about this loss because in my mind, I'm thinking this game should have never been played. So the fact that we lost it doesn't surprise me. The fact that we lost it means nothing to me, to be honest. We're still in a very good standing in the Eastern Conference, and all I'm thinking about now is that if there are more players that are going to health and safety protocols, what are we going to see against Detroit? Which lineup are we going to see? We expect Kobe White to return. The biggest positive of that entire game is that Alex Caruso got through that game, played well in my opinion, and has more days now to rest up for the Detroit game. But that's all I'm thinking about. What's going to happen with the Bulls in Detroit? This game should have been played. Most likely, we're going to see more players enter health and safety protocols. So who's next for the Chicago Bulls? Who's going to fall next? And are we going to see the Detroit Pistons games cancelled? That's what I'm worried about. That's my concern, and that's what I hope ends up happening. We need to see a couple of games postponed so we can get our players back out of health and safety protocols. That's all I care about now. And win or lose, whatever the case may be, I know the Chicago Bulls are going to be fine heading into the end of the season and the playoffs. I understand where the Bulls are. I know we're very talented when our players are healthy. I'm not concerned about the regular season right now. I'm concerned about our players' health, and I'm concerned at the fact that the NBA are not doing much to try and help the Chicago Bulls in this circumstance. help Miami Heat as well, because they had a health and safety protocol individual help the Philadelphia 76ers when they got in this situation as well. It seems like the NBA are very persistent on keeping this season going the way that it should be, and they're not doing much to help these teams when, again, players are going out left, right, and center. When our outbreak is clearly there, when we had a player that we just signed from the G League go into health and safety protocol pretty much 2 days after he's here, where you see a commentator that literally just came in for Stacey King enter health and safety protocols. What do you expect? What do you expect is going to happen? There's going to be more. And again, I feel very bad for Io. I feel very bad for Stanley Johnson. And the man comes first in both of those instances. But this game just simply should not have been played. This game should not have been played. Anyway, looking at the must improve, it's going to be Nikola Vucevic. I don't want to talk too much about this game anymore. Vuce had a bad game. He knows he had a bad game. We know he has a bad game. All of the Chicago Bulls fans knows he has a bad game. And again, I don't know where he's going to find those improvements, but he has to find them soon. We can't keep seeing an inconsistent Nikola Vucevic. He needs to be the one to step up for the team, and he's not doing it. We don't have DeMar DeRozan. Lonzo Ball, as good as he is as a player, he should not be a player that's forced to score instead of doing what he likes to do in playmaking. He likes to be a facilitator, and we are throwing him away from that in many ways so he could be a good scorer for the team when we need Vucevic to step up and be that scorer. He's not done it in the post today. He's not done it in the mid-range. He's not done it from the three-point line. It's a poor game. Every stretch of the words, it's a poor game. And questions do need to questions need to be asked now about Nikola Vucevic and how we can improve him, or if the best way of moving forward in this season is to play him off of the bench. I'm seriously considering that as a move for the Chicago Bulls, but I don't think the Bulls will do it. I think the Bulls will wait until all players are healthy before they make a decision like that. So far, not all of our players are healthy. I think the Bulls are going to keep on playing the same way until our roster's fully back. The player of the game is Zach Lavine, but I don't have too much to say in relation to the player of the game either. He had, I believe, 28 or 30 points, whatever the case may be. I haven't looked at the stats. I'm not going to bother looking at the stats. I don't really care about the stats. Zach Lavine's the player of the game. The Bulls' record is 17-10. It's still a good standing in the Eastern Conference. I believe we sit third now behind the Milwaukee Bucks. And the Miami Heat definitely as well are now caught up with the Chicago Bulls. They sit fourth, I believe, right behind us on our tail. I believe we have Miami one more or two more times. We've versed them twice. We've lost 2 of the games. We'll wait and see how that happens in the next one. Again, I really want to see these two compete when they're both healthy. It's a wasted game, this one. Miami Heat, to be fair, the Miami Heat fans, they didn't show up to their stadium today. They were not very crowded in terms of the arena. And I think if we had DeMar DeRozan and we had Kobe White, we had Javonte Green, Derrick Jones Jr., they had Bam Adebayo, they had Jimmy Butler, they had Markieff Morris. If they had all their players back and we had all of our players back, that arena would be pumping up, ladies and gentlemen. They'd be stalled out. It'd be a fantastic game. But at the end of the day, it's a wasted opportunity. It's a wasted game in my opinion, and it's a game that simply should not have been played. Our next game is against the Detroit Pistons. Again, I'm really concerned about this game. I understand that Detroit are a tanking team. I'm not worried about the records. I'm not even worried about the team itself. I'm worried about our health and safety, ladies and gentlemen. I'm worried about this team coming into this game with more players out in health and safety protocols than players that we get back. I thought it was unacceptable that this game was played, and if it gets worse that we still play Detroit, I'm completely lost for words. I'm going to be stunned if we play that Detroit game and we see more players enter health and safety protocols. The NBA has to do a better job in trying to figure out solutions to get these teams back healthy as possible, and they should have known this coming into the regular season. The NBA should have known that things like this would have happened. Just because vaccinations and all of that, I'm not educated on the situation. The NBA should have known that players will still get the virus, players will still go into health and safety protocols, players will still end up missing games. The NBA should have known that outbreaks would happen. So what's their excuse for not helping these teams that are currently going through outbreaks? They've not done much except for allowing us to sign 2 players, but one of our players ended up having the virus as well. So where's the help from the NBA? It's not good enough in my opinion. I think the NBA needs to do better. I think every other team that goes through this will say the same thing. I know many people that sit on the outside looking in will say it's just a Bulls fan being upset that the Bulls lost. It's not like that at all. If your team goes through this, you'll understand exactly how I feel. You'll understand how most Bulls fans feel, and you'll probably see it the same way if that ever happens to your team. And I hope it doesn't, whoever you go for. If it's the Miami Heat, I hope you don't get an outbreak in terms of the health and safety protocols. That's the last thing I want, because I want this season, I want these teams to be healthy, and I want the Chicago Bulls to be healthy as well. With that being said, I've ranted on just about the virus pretty much and the pandemic and all of that. I've just ranted on. I don't really have anything to say about this game, except it was a poor game from the Bulls. So we'll wait and see what happens in the next one. Yeah, that's all I can say. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. I'll speak more about Io and Stanley Johnson in another video, just to give you all the updates about it. Stay safe, stay healthy. By all means, please stay healthy. Stay tuned for more. Take care. And